Hello! Thank you very much for tuning into this week's Pick-a-Read. The question this time is, what is the real problem, or what is the actual problem? I'm not really sure how I'm going to put that in the description, but same difference either way. The tarot cards I'm going to use are Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn, Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen. There's Gretchen's last name. In case you want to find any of those artists and their stuff, that's the stuff. Just go back and, freeze it, pause it, and you can write it down if you need to. Excuse me. Alright, this pile already started. It just kind of fell out while I was shuffling, but I'm going to shuffle just a little more on camera. I'm actually going to do the piles thing this time. Okay. I'm going to do my best to get these on point so you can see them all. Are they all in? I'm hoping we're staying. Let's see. There we go. I think this is pretty good. Okay, I think we're good with those. Let's do... I'm going to shuffle these a little more too. I did shuffle them a little bit off camera, but I don't know. I always feel like it's better to shuffle them on camera, just give people a minute to just feel it out. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's got a bunch of those cards. Alright, and the channeled messages. That's not the one. This is. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the first one that's going to be the Citrine, which I probably put that in a weird way. Maybe it's hard to see the yellow on there, so hopefully you can see it better that way. There's a Citrine. Lapis Lazuli will be second. Aventurine will be third. Rainbow Titanium Quartz will be fourth. Then the final one will be the Amethyst. Excuse me. Okay. So let me go ahead and get these over in order to the side here. So that way things work. Come on, go over there. There we go. One more. Alright, I think those are just about where I want them to be. Alright. Citrine. Let's see if we can keep this. I hope you can see the yellow. For some reason it seems hard to see the yellow on the camera for me, but maybe you can see it better than I can, hopefully. Almost looks like a tooth to me at the moment. Okay. Well, how do you want these cards? Like this? Okay. When I'm feeling this go in, because the whole part of this is what is the real problem here, it makes me feel like it's all about what the other person is creating. You know, if this is situational, like something at work, I'm getting it's you're trying to figure out what's actually going on here. And the confusion is the creator, whether it be a person or a few people, is actually in flux, is what I'm getting. It's not completely defined yet. It's kind of like, today this is the best decision. Tomorrow that's a better decision. And the day after, well, let's see what comes that day. And we'll make more decisions based on that. This doesn't feel very stable to me. And that might be out of sorts. There's something here that's unstable in the situation. What is the channeled message? I can't even pick it up. Come on now. Shuck the husk of the issue. So when I feel that like that may seem like a weird message, but what I personally get is like if you think of a corn husk, right? You got to shuck the husk before you can eat the vegetable in there, the corn. So I'm getting you have to get through this layer of bull. You have to find out like who is making these weird decisions and why are they like taking it literally day by day. It's trying to get down a little bit more, a little deeper. Like you can't really. It's hard to find loyalty to this situation when you don't know where it's going to be next day or the day after that. If you can drill down and find out why is it such a variable, it might be hard to get somebody to admit to it. Because I still feel like this situation is not only in flux now, and this is the problem. Like, because things are not going exactly as planned. It's almost like we're supposed to go this way, and then, you know, I went in that direction, and then you're way over there. Like, how the hell did that happen? So I go over there to catch up to you over there, and now you're somewhere else. Like, what's the deal? Like, I feel like that's the actual problem. This person or situation keeps creating day by day. It's kind of like going to the grocery store on the day to decide what you want instead of planning a week ahead and getting a week's full of groceries. It's just doing it day by day and like, oh, this is what I want today, so I'll go eat this today. That type of feeling. Shuck of the husk is to me is telling me there's a layer that you're not looking behind. Like you can get a little bit closer. You can get a little bit closer to this issue or person to find out what they're really doing, because I feel like this is mirroring in other parts of their life, or this has, and it depends. Like what is unstable? Like is it money? Is it timing? Is it other people they're depending on that just seem to change? Which in some situations I feel like it's other people. Like you might be depending on one person to go in a certain direction, but they're looking at somebody else and they're deciding based on this other person or other people what goes on this day or the next day or the day after that. And that might be the issue. Like they keep like winging it day by day and just kind of rolling with it day by day. It's a situation of flux. I'm getting, once you shuck the husk of it and you get a little closer, I feel like you need to get a little closer to this person or situation to find out what that variable really is. If you can discover that variable, like, is it a person that they're following and they're just trying to understand that? Or is it like, for example, you know, the stock market going up and down and maybe somebody's just kind of making decisions based on where the stock market is today, which seems a little dangerous to me, but whatever. If you can get a little closer and find out that's what they're doing, shuck the husk of the issue, like get a little closer, find a little more, you know, like it's not just having an ear of corn if you're going to get a little bit more literal with it. It's shucking that husk and being like, is this a good piece of corn? Is this an edible piece of corn? Is this cow corn, which, you know, I don't think people are supposed to eat, or it's not as nutritional or whatever, it doesn't taste as good. Like, you know what I mean? Is this, like, what's the deal? I feel like you'll have a lot more stability with the situation personally, and in the sense of like where you stand and what you need to do with it. Not stability on where it's going, but more stability on like what you want to do and how you need to handle it, so you don't feel like you're in this weird like what's the next bomb that's going to go off. You'll definitely have more emotional stability is what I'm feeling. Not so much like direction and like this is where we're going to go, this is where we're going to be, but just kind of like, you know, comfortable in your own skin. Like, all right, this is a little bit of a wacky situation, but I know this is going on and I know that is, so I have to wait to see what that does, because that's going to determine what this person does, and then I can move from there. It's a little bit more just settling to like, oh, okay, that happened, now let's see how this lands today. You do have the Princess of Wands. Don't get caught up in the gender of the card, but it's kind of going into the Seven of Cups, and I noticed there's kind of like some difficulty deciding where these were going to go. So it's almost like depending on your situation, who can start leading the charge. I feel like if you find out who this person is and what's really deciding the next move for them, for some of you, you're going to have the ability to kind of take control of the situation and possibly make better decisions. For others of you, it's going to be more about the other person, but you're going to get closer and like preemptively, like before we take another step forward, let me check with them because I know something went different in that variable they look at. Let's see what's going to happen today. Either one, you're going to get into a more suitable position where you make more decisions, or two, you're going to get closer to this person and you're going to be like, oh wait, I see it coming. Something's going to change. I'm not exactly sure what way they're going to go, but let me hold off for right now until I talk to them to see how this next situation is unfolded for them. Like if it's weather, like, oh, it was supposed to be sunny today, but now it's starting to rain. I know that's going to change how they handle this, so let me just hold off with what I was going to do and let me touch base with them. And when I see how they're going to handle it, then I'll start putting in effort. I don't want to put in effort here that's just going to go to waste. because there's a lot more possibilities. But with this here, it tells me that the situation is not stabilizing, but it's once you understand what's really happening with it and how it's really flowing, you can at least feel like you have more stability in your own emotions. So it's not bothering you as much, or at least you feel like you have more of a heads up about changes that are still coming. Anything else with this? Alright, I think we're good with this one. That was Citrine. Maybe I like that one. I think that one went well. Let's put these to the side. What do we have next? Lapis Lazuli. Yeah, I want this over here for some reason. I'm going to put these face down until, because the last one I had a little bit of an issue like where I wanted to put the cards, so let's put them face down, and then we'll flip them once we're ready. Excuse me. Okay, I think we're good. I'm happy with where they are. This doesn't have to be a totally bad thing, by the way, in case you know what that card means. Okay, and their channeled message is core beliefs at bay. I don't like that. I'm noticing it's near the bottom, which is usually the environment. Core beliefs at bay, that makes me feel like situational morality. For those of you who are not really familiar with that, it's kind of like somebody who teaches their kids, don't lie, you should never lie. But in a business sense, when they're dealing with other coworkers, they're like, well, that person's lying and they're getting ahead, and that person's lying and they're getting ahead. So if I want to get ahead, I need to lie, or else I'm going to be left behind. So in this situation, it's okay for me to lie because that's what everybody else does. And if I want to get ahead, which I deserve to, I'm going to need to do that. So in this situation, it's acceptable for me to lie, even though I wouldn't tell my children that. I will do it here, and I think it's okay to do it here based on the situation. That's situational morality. Somebody who normally wouldn't promote that or accept that or even teach their children that, or maybe even admit to it in most cases, but due to the situation, they're like, well, if I don't want to be left behind, I have to do as the Romans do and lie like everybody else. So that's the situational morality. And when I feel core beliefs at bay, it makes me feel like the person you're dealing with, or the person this is stemming from really actually has high standards and really good standards, but they're negating them out because they feel like it's necessary for the situation. When I'm seeing this, I'm kind of jumping a little bit here, but I'm seeing this Three of Swords. I feel like when you figure that out, that's going to disappoint you greatly. That's going to like kind of damage your perception of this person, because you're like, I see this person as a very good person, but to realize that they do that bothers me a lot. Because you expected more from somebody, this person, but I'm getting like a situational morality thing here. I'm getting that's the real problem. Because I feel like you're not thinking that's what's going on here. I feel like you wouldn't believe that of this person, but that's, I feel like, what's going on here. Especially when I see growth with the Empress. Don't get caught up in the gender, but I feel like somebody's basically making decisions they believe in, decisions they stand behind, decisions they believe are correct, even though it's like a situational morality. It's almost like lying straight to somebody's face, but feeling like it's the right thing to do. I know it's right side up, but I typically read them all right side up because I feel like it's easier for people to follow. But in this situation, I don't feel like it's the best, especially with the Three of Swords touching it. I feel like there's disappointment here. I feel like this person is learning like the price you pay for situational morality, the price you pay for having those beliefs and then going against them for whatever gain and feeling like you're right. Like there's a price to be paid for that. And I feel like they're going to see that you've been very disappointed and you've been kind of let down by their actions. And I feel like when they're looking at this, they're feeling some shame over this. And that's why the Empress, I actually feel like that's why the Empress is right side up. And don't get caught up in the gender again. Whoever this person is, I feel like once they see it and see the effect they're having, I feel like it does weigh on them. And it kind of makes them really reevaluate, like, is this situational morality really worth it to them? Is that really worth their reputation? Because they really think of themselves as a good person. They usually are. But when they make these situational morality calls, it is damaging to their reputation, and it also is damaging to like their growth. It can be. Just to be fair, situational morality, when people learn from it, it can be a very enlightening moment. So I don't want to say that situational morality is ultimately always damaging spiritually, it's if somebody buys into that too deeply and gets really into it and just invests in that thought and feeling, then it can be very spiritually damaging, in my opinion. But when somebody just goes like a little ways into it, or experiences it for like, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe less, something like that, and then they start seeing the effects of that and the aftermath of making those decisions and what it really makes them look like and how it really is affecting them, then it could snap back around and put them in focus and help them align much better and help them become an even better person than they were before. Gives them a level of understanding to understand, why other people do that stuff and how it's really not a good thing. So it can be a very positive thing for this person. And hopefully it is in this situation. I feel like when you understand what's going on here, when you see what this person is doing with the situational morality, which I'm not a fan of, the Three of Pentacles comes in with the isolation. I'm feeling like you're going to work with this person still, or you're going to deal with this person still. I don't see you moving away from this person, but I feel like you're not trusting them anymore, and you don't want to damage this any more than you already have. So you're not really giving the situation an opportunity to let you down any more than this person already has. You're putting a lot of effort in, but I feel like you're checking facts, you're double checking things. If they tell you something, you're making sure it's correct. You're just, crossing the I's and dotting your crossing your T's and dotting your I's yourself, because you're like, what if they're doing it backwards? What if they are crossing their T's, or crossing their I's and dotting their T's? You know what I mean? What if they're doing it backwards and they think that that's the right way to do it? So I feel like there's going to be a period of, like, literally it says isolation, but I feel like there's kind of like the structure is still there. It's just feeling a little empty. That's what I'm feeling with the isolation. And the Three of Pentacles is telling me there's a lot of effort going on here, and you're trying to give this person the opportunity to treat you better, or at least prove to you that they've kind of figured out that that's a bad thing to do, that's the wrong thing to do. Because I feel like it's quite obvious that you're not really willing to participate with them any more than you have to. And it's showing them, that you're not impressed with them anymore. They've kind of damaged their reputation with you. So this could get better. I do feel like this is a situation that's going to take some time to really fold out. If this person learns from what they're doing and how it's not really a good thing, I feel like this can get a lot better. But you have to wait to see, because if there's free will at free will at play here. So if they decide to go too deep or even deeper, you might have to make other decisions. You're going to have to keep an eye on them to see where they go with it. This is what the real problem is. It's somebody who's typically a really good person that's kind of decided to put their core beliefs at bay, situational morality, and this is kind of really disappointing is what I'm getting. I think we're good with this one. All right. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for watching. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. All right, let's pick these up and go into the next one. See if I can keep these all going the same way. Okay, the next one is Aventurine, which has, it looks like there's quartz, clear quartz, or is it smoky quartz? It's probably smoky quartz, actually, in there. I don't know if you can see the pale green on camera. I think it's a very pretty stone. I just don't think the camera usually picks it up, but hopefully it does. Because I know when I'm looking at it through the viewfinder, it looks very white. Okay, this is already feeling like... Okay, this is how it needs to be, I get that, but it feels like it's a mess to start with. So we're going in, what is the real problem, or what is the actual problem? Got that going on. We got this going on. I don't know, this feels like a mess. That's funny. I'll read that one soon. And they keep saying it's a mess, and I'm like, not really surprised that that card came out. Okay, so we do have an action line here that formed. It still feels like a mess to me. What is the actual problem? When I'm feeling this here... Alright, I gotta be actually honest here. It depends how it's going to hit with you. I understand that. But if you're in a love situation or romantic situation with this person... I feel like the other person is falling for someone other than you. And I feel like they're trying to stop that from happening. That may be a good thing. Sometimes like kindred souls come in and they ignite something from the past, and part of us, like, we come across people and we have this initial instant attraction, and then it's like the physical attraction is still there, but something in the back of our head is saying, don't do it. I've had this happen to me. I've had this where I've seen somebody, the first time I met them, like, it clicked in that they were very attractive to me, but at the exact same time it said, don't do it. Walk away. Don't do this. Like, just because that soulmate attraction is there, and I'm one to believe more soulmate, instead of soulmate, I'm thinking more kindred. Kindred in the sense of, like, it's somebody that there's been past life with, or some type of other soul connection there that's kind of making this person very familiar to them. The first thing I'm getting, though, is that there's somebody else has ignited this. It doesn't mean like anything physical has happened, but like they've met somebody. There's instant physical attraction, but there seems to be the same feeling right with it, saying, no, don't do it. This is a bad idea. They're conflicted with it. I feel like it bothers them that it's there. It makes them confused. Like, is this the person I'm supposed to be with? Is this a distraction? Is this temporary? It seems like they're very confused with it. They're trying to understand it. They're trying to do the right thing. They got forgiveness here with the Prince of Pentacles here, which is kind of like they're staying with you, but they're bothered by it. It almost seems like they're trying to I got forgiveness here. It's almost like they're looking for forgiveness, even though I don't think they've really done anything that bad. I mean, I know it's situational, so you might be like, well, no, they did. So forgiveness is here. Like, they want forgiveness. They don't want the situation with you to end. Now, this could be a business situation where there's something else going on here, where there's other things that they're thinking might be a better choice. There's something that might be pulling away from you, that whoever's making decisions is really evaluating and trying to decide if it's right or not. It doesn't seem to be wanting to move away, but questioning if they should be moving away from your involvement. So that's the business side of it, just to be fair. I don't want to make it all about love. Because it's something here where the other person is pulled in a different direction, and they're not thinking it's the right thing, but they are strongly pulled in another direction, yet they're not going that direction. And they're thinking, like, the thought of even wanting to might be a bad idea. It's almost like a little bit of guilt here. As this keeps going forward, because this is about what the real problem is, or what the actual problem is, whichever fits with you better. You got miracle. You do have prayer hidden under there. You got service kind of hidden under here, and it's going to lead out with confusion. And the channeled message was, if you can read it, great. If you can't, I'll read it right now. Is it just a river of bull? Is it just a river of bull? And I got bull with an S after, so BS. You know what BS is. Is it ridiculousness? Is it just a river of lies? Is another way to put that. I don't know if you can see it because the light isn't the best right there. I'll put it back. This person is staying loyal to the situation. So if it's romantically, they're staying loyal to you. If it's business-wise, they're not choosing to go a different direction. They're still hanging out or going with you or keeping the situation with you. But I'm also getting, like, you know that something isn't right here because it's not leaving them. Something is still pulling them and making them wonder what they're doing and if they should be doing this way. Whatever this is very strong. It's very strong, and it's very conflicting for this other person or situation. It's very conflicting. Just to be fair, if you're going to put the business layer on this again, it's almost like they're seeing, like, by keeping you in this position, they know what to expect. But by putting somebody else here in this position, they have the chance to do better, but there might be other drawbacks that they don't want. It's one of those things. Like, the situation in total could go better, but there could be more severe drawbacks that they really don't want. So, just to be fair, if it's the romance thing, I feel like that person is just around them. They can't seem to get away from them. This person is trying to pretend like it's not happening. They're trying to, like, get closer to you. It's like one of these things where they keep doing things for you and keep trying to make you feel more comfortable, but then they pull away. They get close, but then they pull away. They'll get you something nice, like a random gift, but then all of a sudden you're like, you want to go out to dinner, or you want to do this, you want to do that, and they're like, well, I can't tonight. I'm kind of busy. So it's kind of like, do they want to be close to you, or do they not want to be? They're very, like, they're BSing themselves. they have to find out why that feeling is there. It's I feel like this is something where they're not moving away, but the situation is not changing. The real problem is this influence. That's the influence. That's the problem. The miracle is, I'm trying to understand the miracle, but I feel like this person is choosing you, or the situation is choosing you, but it's kind of like a moth to a flame. That flame is still there. It's kind of like they're hitting the window to the house. You know what I mean? It's not killing them, but they keep going towards it. Then like, nope, I can't do that. Then they go towards it and they're like, nope, I can't do that. So they're loyal to you, but like their natural instincts are drawing them to this thing, drawing them to this situation. Confusion is telling me it's just kind of like, again, you're getting mixed signals. You're like, do you want to be around me or not? Like, what's the deal? What's your problem? I mean, this is just identifying what the real problem is. So this is the answer. I don't see a resolution at this point. I just see them choosing you but being conflicted about it still. It just seems to be drawing into the future. It doesn't seem to be ending. I almost feel like they're saying if you come into this phase later and you're like, they're doing really nice things, but then they pull away. They come close, they give me things, or they want to hang out with me today, but then tomorrow it's like I don't even exist. Like, what's the deal? They're saying this is a heads up that this is what's going on. This is what's actually happening, and maybe you need to make a decision or maybe try to find out what the actual deal is here. For some people, there's one more layer I'm just pulling into now, because I don't automatically see the soulmate card as a good thing. Sometimes this is a very strong challenge that somebody's very much drawn to, kind of like drugs or their drug addiction. So somebody's trying to pull them back to drugs. Somebody might be, like, there could be an alcohol addiction. There could be some type of other addiction that's pulling them back or trying to pull them back, and they're fighting it, and they're trying to pretend they're okay. If that's the situation here for you, you might want to like talk with this person a little bit more directly and be like, well, if that's an issue, like, what do we need to do? Like, who do we need to pull in here, or who do you need to see to work this out before it actually becomes a real problem? Right now, you're kind of stumbling, but you haven't fallen. Let's get you some help before you actually do fall. You know what I mean? You might not fall, granted, but just to ensure that you don't, or give you the best chance of walking upright through this whole situation and not falling flat on your face, what do we need to do to get you that help? So that's another version I'm also feeling with this, just to be fair. I didn't want to just kind of like glaze that over. Whew. Is there anything else here? Alright, I think we're good with this one. That was Aventurine. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. What do we got going in here? Okay, let's get the next one out. What is the next one? Rainbow Titanium Quartz. Which, can you see the colors? Maybe if I put it like that, you can see it a little better. Maybe you can. Hopefully you can. It's interesting that I use that stone because I think it's manufactured. Like, I think it's basically like, what do you call it? I think it's clear quartz that's kind of treated with something. I think that's what it is, and I usually don't use manufactured stones, but I like the dark flecks here. I like how that kind of like gives you another version of the stone. I don't know. I find it a little bit, I want to say saucy. Why do you want to say saucy? I don't know. Let's stop talking about the stone and get into the actual call it out for the truth. Not that that's bad, I'm not saying that, but my first thought is that's what somebody else is trying to do, especially when I feel gratitude here. Somebody else is trying to call. It's almost like someone is like passively aggressively bringing something forward and trying to make it real nice, because I'm feeling gratitude, like they're happy with the people they're connected with, but they're like, there's problems here, and they're trying to bring it forward in a nice way. They're trying to say, oh, this isn't the best, or that's not the best, or they're kind of say, oh, I know somebody who does this, that, and the other thing, and it mirrors this situation that you're dealing with. And it's kind of like, wait a minute, are they talking about something else, or are they passively aggressively talking about this situation? When I feel call it out for the truth in the gratitude here, I feel like somebody's trying to call it out, but they're being a little bit more mysterious, or a little bit more like Riddler. There's kind of a Riddler feel here. Like they're not directly calling something out like they're trying to. You might need to help this person like unearth these secrets. Or if you're not comfortable with that, maybe try to pull the Sudoku out of this, or what do you want to call it? Try to put the puzzle together on your own and figure out what are they actually trying to call out here. Because I got the Queen of Cups here. Now, if you're online with this person and on the same page, you may be able to get them to comfortably tell you what they're seeing or what they're feeling, so you can actually go, okay, let me see, do I believe that? Do I agree with that? Do I think that's actually happening, or do I need to look a little deeper? Maybe they're having some good points, but let me see if I can get in there and prove it's either correct or prove it's incorrect and show this person what the truth is. One of the two. That's the first thing I feel like needs to happen, because somebody's trying to call this out, but they're doing it in a weird way, and you're not really sure what the issue is. It's kind of like, it's almost like, are they trying to start little fires? Are they trying to be a pain in the ass? They think there's really a problem. There's something here that's happening that they don't think other people are seeing, and they're trying to put the red flag out there, like there's a problem here, but it comes forward in a strange way, and I feel like that's what the actual problem is. Like they're not being understood correctly. If you can get this person like on a comfortable level where they feel like they can let you know what they're thinking in a safe way, that would make it a lot easier. If you can't, you might have to read between the lines and be like, who have they been talking to? Where have they been working on things? Who are they saying this about? You know, what is the root situation that they're addressing here? What is going on here? Could be quite the puzzle is what I'm getting with the Queen of Cups, because usually she doesn't give out secrets unless she really wants to. Like, and I say that like, for if you had the Queen of Cups going against the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords could possibly figure out the secrets that the Queen of Cups has, and you know, vice versa. They work on the same level, so it's kind of like a fair game, an even playing field. Even like the King of Swords and the Queen of Cups, it's still an even playing field the way I read cards. Like King and Queens are equal. That's how I view them. As we keep going forward here, if you're able to figure this out one way or another, which way ever it is, expansion does come forward, but I'm also getting like, there's a moment here where you have to kind of pull back and really just soak up the situation, really take like a better look at it, like what is really going on here? What is the real truth? Because it's almost like, I don't understand why there's an issue here. And it's kind of like, I need to look at this a little deeper, because I thought this other stuff was going on. I thought this was the problem, but now this other person, once I really understand what they're saying, there is a bit more than I saw. I thought I saw it all before, but now I'm seeing some more stuff. It's getting a little bit more, like, it's almost like looking at it with a magnifying glass. Like, now that I'm looking closer, and I feel like that's what I'm feeling with the expansion. Now that I'm looking at this a little closer, there are some things that could be a bigger problem down the road. I've got to kind of hold back and really absorb what's happening and see how this is actually being worked through, to see if it needs to be handled this way or that way, or do I just need to wait to the side and pick up the pieces when it's time, or do I need to let somebody else know there's a problem? What do I need to do with it? Because the Four of Swords can definitely be a healing card, but I'm also getting it's like holding back and absorbing and like, what's really happening here? What's really going on? This does go out with the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is a stressful card, but the way I typically read it, and this is what I feel with it here, it's like you're going down this path. It's a long path. You're carrying a lot of stuff up this path, but the goal is attainable. Now, there's some weird colors on this building. There's like some reds and stuff, and it makes it look like there's a little bit of damage, or like somebody got murdered and they spread them all over half the building. I don't know what the hell that's about. But if I can put it up closer where you can see it, if you can see that building, it's got some red on it that just looks a little bit weird. The point is, it may get there. It may be a little bit rough when it finally does get there, but the success is still possible. I just feel like you got to be careful, and it takes a lot of stress to make it work out right. It's kind of like you just can't run in there and, you know, bulldoze through the situation. You got to be careful. You got to think through it. This is right. That's not right. It's going to take you some time to really mold through the situation. And when I say mold through the situation, it's like you're going to have to conform to, like, all right, this is the new parameters. This is the new situation. This is what I need to deal with. So let me fit myself into this and like find a way to deal with that. Okay, we're going good here. Wait, the situation's changing again. The room is moving around again. Okay, let me remold myself to this. Let me mold this way, mold that way. All right, I'm good. Let me kind of move through it this way. I got my momentum going. Oh, here we go again. Got to mold differently. Things are moving again. I actually feel like that's the stress of the situation. things keep moving around. Things keep changing. I feel like there's a lot of change. It's like if you're going west, you're continually going west, but sometimes you're going dead on west, sometimes southwest, sometimes northwest. You know, sometimes it goes slower, sometimes it goes faster, sometimes you're going up a hill, sometimes you're going down a hill. You're still going in the general west direction, but you still got to kind of work at, like, you know, the little pieces that keep changing to make sure that this works out correctly. That's what I feel like the problem is like somebody's trying to call out some other things, some red flags that they see that not everybody sees. Once you realize what's actually going on here, I feel like this can go easier. It's definitely going to take a lot of hard work to get through it and to get through it in a successful fashion. All right, I think we're good. All right, so if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. I'm now going to get into the last one. The last one is Amethyst. And I really think this is a pretty amethyst. It's got very dark purple. I like dark purple a lot, so I think that's a really pretty one. Very much like dark purple. Let's get these cards. Okay. So let's just make sure they're in viewing. Okay. Got one more thing to flip, and I don't remember what the message is, so let's find out what it is. Wow. Why not leave? And it's coming up with the 5 of Pentacles. So, 7 of Wands. Now, I feel like the situation, whatever the situation is, the 7 of Wands is success, but in aversion to the 6 of Wands, the 6 of Wands is just kind of like winning the lottery, and then everything is right there. It's like, bam, win, good, victory. That's how I see the 6 of Wands. The 7 in this deck especially is like overcoming challenges. It's kind of like everything you want is, you know, across on the next mountain. You can have it all. Nobody's going to take it before you get there, but you have to go get it. So, you know, get yourself a horse, get yourself a wagon, get yourself over there, get what you want, then come back with it. Like, the success is there, and it's not like it's overly stressful. It's just going to take work, but it's not like the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands is like a lot of stress, like, can I do it, can I not do it, trying to fight for it, fight for it, fight for it. This one is just kind of like getting yourself together and being like, all right, that's what I got to do. It's going to take effort. I know I can do it. It's just going to take the muscle work to do it, so let me just go ahead and do it. So it seems like the situation starts off with that, kind of like we've been working at it. It's been surviving, but it's kind of like it never really gets out of this. It's kind of like there's always work. It's always a situation. It does seem successful, but it feels to me like there's a missing piece. Like something in the situation is always missing, in my opinion. It just doesn't feel right. It's kind of like this is not satisfactory. It does work. I do get through it. It does kind of makes ends meet, if you will, if it's a business or some type of work situation. Like I make ends meet through this. It's not my ideal best job in my life. It's not my favorite thing to do in life, but it works. It pays the bills. It's not that bad. I was trying to go around this, but if it's love, it's almost like maybe this is something that, you know, you're making this situation work out and you do care about this person, but the romance, like, you know, I'd rather just be friends. If they could just not physically touch me anymore, I'd probably be happier with that. Like, because I know some relationships get there. It's kind of like, you know, you don't really want to be physically intimate with the person anymore, but you still do care about them, and it's kind of like it's getting to a point where it's not about you know, just going through the motions. It's getting to the point where, you know, I really don't want to be physical with them anymore. I do care about them, but I don't want to be physical with them anymore. That could be a thing. And just to be fair, it could be vice versa. I understand that. Because the next thing coming in is like somebody's asking the question, why not leave? I feel like that's literal. For some of you, I feel like that's literally going to fall out of somebody's mouth, either yours or theirs. And the 5 of Pentacles is telling me somebody's feeling left out in the cold. It's kind of in the middle here, so the question is who? Somebody's feeling left out, and I'm not sure who. I'm getting like this is a good moment to really reevaluate a situation, whether it be business, romance. I don't understand how the family situation is working out, but there is some type of family thing. Well, when I'm feeling into it, like maybe you have somebody living with you that could literally live on their own. They're at the age, or maybe they're in the station of life where they could do it on their own, and maybe it's just getting stressful having them around. So, I mean, and maybe this is why this is coming out. Like it's time for somebody to move on. If it's family, it's almost like I feel like there needs to be some more distance for some reason. Like they're going through something, or you're going through something where you just need a break from each other. I know some people who have siblings like that. Like they get along with them great for a while, and then they need a break for a while, and then they get along and they're really close for a while, and then they get a little distance for a while. It just seems to ebb and flow like that. No harm, no foul. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. Either way, when I feel this coming forward, whatever the situation is, the real problem is like somebody's just not as into this, and somebody needs a break. Somebody needs to distance their connection. Either you have to distance your connection to the situation or person, or vice versa. One of the two. I'm getting that that's what this is coming forward. Like, all right, now it's time to like take a break. We need to take a break from this. I'm getting the facade on your side. This can go one of two ways. If you're the one that wants the distance, I feel like you're enjoying it a lot, but you're kind of like you're dulling it down so other people don't know how happy you are about it. If it's the other way and the other person wants it and you're giving into it, you're acting like it's okay, but in truth you're really not liking it. I feel like it's either 6-1 or half a dozen to the other. Which way? It's like either you're really enjoying it and you don't want people to know, so you're acting like things are okay, or you're really not enjoying it but you don't want people to know, so you're acting like it's okay. Either way, on the outside people are seeing like it's okay. They think you're okay. On the inside, you're either really happy or you're really not. Instinct is telling me, though, like, this seems to be changing the situation. This is evolving the situation forward. Judgment is going in the favor... I feel like it's going in the favor of the other person. I know that's situational depending on what you got going on. But with judgment here, I feel like this is a good thing for them. So if you're really happy, don't feel guilty about it, because I feel like this is going to work out for whatever situation or person you're dealing with. It is going to work out for them. If you're not happy with the situation, and this other person's going to pull farther away, is what I'm getting. Just to be fair, because I know that these are general reads, so I try to honor both sides of the story here. But those are the two different ways I'm seeing this. So if you're happy about it, don't feel guilty about being happy. I think you're smart by keeping it personal and keeping it to yourself how happy you really are. I feel like that's good. I feel like judgment goes in your favor. It goes in their favor too, because I feel like it's easy for everybody that way. If you're not happy though, I apologize. I do feel this person or situation moving on. Is there anything else with this? Alright, I think we're good with that. So I'm going to wrap that up there. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, go ahead and shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.